You know those quiet nights when the noise of the world finally fades away? The city slows down. Even the sound of passing cars outside your window becomes rare. You're lying there, maybe on your bed, maybe on your couch, not doing much. The lights are low, your phone is in your hand, but you're not really scrolling for anything specific. You're just drifting. And then, out of nowhere, a thought slips into your mind like a shadow through an open door. It's simple. Just 6 small words. Will I ever find true love? It's such a strange question because you can go the entire day without thinking about it. You can be buried in work, laughing with friends, running errands, doing all the things that make up the rhythm of your life. But when the world slows down, it's like your heart finally gets the microphone. And it whispers. Sometimes that whisper is filled with hope. Sometimes it's filled with doubt. And if you felt that, you know exactly what I mean. What's fascinating is that this question doesn't care who you are. It doesn't matter if you're single, dating, divorced, or married. It doesn't matter if you're rich, famous, struggling, or somewhere in between. It's not about your relationship status on social media, it's about that deep, personal longing for connection. The kind that feels rare, fragile, and powerful all at once. The kind that makes the chaos of life feel like it makes sense. You might think that people who seem to have it all, the big houses, the red carpets, the endless attention, wouldn't even bother with this question. Surely they've had love handed to them, right? But no. That's the myth. Even the most celebrated, admired, and accomplished people have asked themselves the same thing you have. And one of them, in a rare and unguarded moment, admitted it openly. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, a name that carries decades of stories, characters, and unforgettable roles. He's been a pirate, a misfit with scissor hands, a troubled writer, and countless other faces we've met through screens. His work has earned him applause from all corners of the world. He's lived a life full of adventure, both on and off camera. But when you strip away the fame, the costumes, the carefully staged photographs, what's left is a man who, at his core, is just as human as you or me. And that humanity showed when he decided to open up about something deeply personal, his thoughts on love. It wasn't a speech designed for promotion. It wasn't a line from a script. It wasn't some polished, romantic statement for the cameras. It was raw. It was real. It was the kind of honesty that makes you pause and just listen. Johnny admitted that love, for him, has never been the perfect, polished thing you see in the movies. There's no dramatic orchestral music swelling in the background, no slow-motion kiss under the rain that magically fixes everything. Instead, his experience with love has been messy, unpredictable, and sometimes painful. But it's also been beautiful, unforgettable, and worth every scar. He spoke about moments of doubt. About the times he believed he had found the person who would be his forever, only to realize later that love, as powerful as it is, can't always keep two people together. Life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. Timing can be cruel. Circumstances can be unforgiving. And sometimes, despite how deeply you care for someone, the path you're walking together starts to split, and there's no way to force them back into one. Yet, what's remarkable about the way Johnny talks about love is that he doesn't speak with bitterness. Even when it ended, even when it hurt, he still found value in it. Every relationship, no matter how it ended, gave him something to carry forward. A lesson. A memory. A deeper understanding of himself. And maybe that's the most important thing. Because as much as love is about the other person, it's also about who you become in the process. One of the first truths he shared is that love isn't a checklist. Think about that for a moment. So many of us, whether we admit it or not, have a list in our heads. They should be this tall, this funny, this ambitious. They should like these hobbies, have these values, come from this kind of background. And sure, knowing what you want matters, but Johnny's point is that love rarely fits into the neat boxes we create. Real love, the kind that takes root and stays with you, is about something less tangible and far more powerful: connection. The kind of connection where you feel seen in a way you've never felt before. Where you can drop every mask, every defense, and still feel safe. The second truth he's learned is that timing is everything. You can meet the right person at the wrong time, and that can change the outcome completely. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe life is pulling you both in opposite directions. In those moments, love isn't always enough to bridge the gap. Some of Johnny's most profound relationships didn't happen when he was actively searching for love. They happened in the quiet, unexpected corners of life, while focusing on his craft, spending time with friends, or simply living in the moment. That's when love walked in. Not because he was hunting for it, but because he was open enough to recognize it when it appeared. Then there's his view on heartbreak. It's not something most people talk about openly. We tend to avoid it, push it aside, act like we've moved on long before we actually have. But Johnny sees heartbreak differently. For him, it's not just a wound, it's a teacher. Those long nights when the person you love is no longer there, those mornings when you wake up and the bed feels bigger, colder, that's when you start to see yourself clearly. You begin to understand what you need, what you won't tolerate, and what truly matters to you. Johnny didn't get those lessons from a book or from watching other people's stories play out. He earned them through lived experience, the kind that leaves marks but also shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. He wouldn't choose the pain, but he also wouldn't erase it. Because without it, he wouldn't be who he is now. So, what's his advice to anyone who wonders if they'll ever find true love? Stop treating love like it's a treasure buried at the end of some map. Don't make your entire life about searching for it. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of person who's truly ready to receive it. That means knowing your worth. It means protecting your peace. It means building a life that you genuinely enjoy, even if you never find the one. Because when you're whole on your own, the love that enters your life won't complete you. It will simply add to the happiness you've already built. And here's something most people wouldn't expect: Johnny says some of his most enduring relationships began as friendships. There was no pressure, no rush, no romantic expectations. Just two people laughing, talking, and slowly building trust. Over time, those bonds deepened. And that's when love quietly stepped in. He believes that's why those connections felt so real, because they weren't forced. They were allowed to grow naturally. Now think about it for yourself. What does true love look like to you? Is it the intense, burning passion you see in films? Is it the steady, reliable comfort of companionship? Or is it simply finding someone who makes the ordinary moments, a walk in the park, cooking dinner, sitting quietly together, feel extraordinary? For Johnny, it's the small things. The everyday gestures that might look insignificant to outsiders but mean everything to the two people who share them. A kind word at the right time. A look across the room that says, "I'm here." Laughter over something no one else would find funny. That, he believes, is where the real magic lives. And maybe that's the part we forget when we're so focused on finding love. We look for fireworks, for drama, for the kind of story that sounds impressive when we tell it. But love, at its best, is often quiet. Unassuming. Built from 1,000 little moments that only you and that person truly understand. So maybe the question isn't, will I ever find true love? Maybe the question is, will I be ready for it when it comes? Because love has a strange way of showing up when you least expect it, in the middle of an ordinary day, during a conversation that starts with nothing special, in a place you never thought to look. And when it does, the only thing that matters is whether you can see it for what it is and hold on. Johnny's journey with love is filled with lessons, not because he's perfect at it, but because he's honest about it. He's made mistakes. He's lost people. He's had moments where he wasn't ready. But he's also had moments where he was. And those moments taught him that love is less about finding the perfect person and more about being in the right place, emotionally and mentally, to recognize and nurture it when it arrives. So if you've been wondering about love, if you've been doubting whether it's out there for you, remember this: you're not the only one. Even those who seem to have the entire world in their hands have stood exactly where you are, asking the same question. The difference is, some kept their hearts open, and that made all the difference. And maybe that's the real secret. Not searching harder. Not chasing faster. But staying open, even when it's hard. Because love isn't a finish line. It's not a prize you win at the end of some race. It's a journey. And the journey, every twist, turn, and lesson along the way, might be just as beautiful as the destination.